Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of AndersMillknits. I'm your host, Emily, and you can find me on Ravelry as AKA Millie and on Instagram as AKA Millie907. Subject to change shortly. We might even have a discussion about that today. But today is a very special day for AndersMillknits. I'm actually recording this via the Zoom app because I have a guest who might not just be a guest in the future if I have my way. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Emily, thanks so much for having me. My name is Stephanie. I can be found on Instagram as, well, two different names, but for the most part, Hotpinksockreviews, and then on Ravelry as just Hotpinksocks.
Awesome. And we were actually just discussing, thank you, Stephanie, for introducing yourself. We were just discussing before we even hit record that we've actually known each other for 5 years, and it's like, you know, I feel like Stephanie's the sister well, say the sister I never had, and I have two sisters.
So do I, so you're in good company.
So, we like to banter. And it's kind of a rare thing. I think I've mentioned this before, but I hate talking on the phone, like literally hate it. So Stephanie and I mainly communicate via social media and texting. So I think we've actually been in person only a few times in these 5 years, right? So I
Yeah, a
am,
lot of it was back on vacation when you were living in Portland and my family's in Portland. So I would just vacation and say, hey, let's meet up and let's knit. So
yep, yep. Stephanie's a really good connector. I just absolutely love it. If she didn't do that, I probably would have not actually ever met up with her. I'm terrible at this stuff. But anyway, so I just, so, okay, sorry, Emily, collect your thoughts. So here's the deal, guys. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to change how I'm approaching this podcast. I no longer want to be talking at you on on YouTube and stuff like that. I want to be talking with you. And one of the ways that I want to be doing that is having a co-host if at all possible. But also, I want to really just invite you all to um, allow me to interview you via video. And I don't know, I can always do this via Zoom, so it's pretty accessible. If you have a phone, a smartphone, or a tablet, you can do it. And I haven't come up with the questions, interview questions as yet, but I will be doing that shortly. And so I'm just putting the word out there. If you would like to join me on uh, this channel, go ahead and comment below and I will contact you and we'll get together about that. All right. So, and then switching gears completely, there's something that I did want to talk about instead of really talking about like our weeks in review, what's been happening in my life. I really just want to talk about what's happening on the global scale, on the national scale for just a second. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to sit there and say who's right and who's wrong or anything like that. I just want to acknowledge the difficult time that we're in right now and how that is bringing up a lot of emotions in me, a lot of fear and anxiety. And I don't know if that's bringing up for you as well, but I really just want to encourage you to talk to somebody that is safe, that won't judge you for whatever thoughts or feelings that you have. And also maybe, finding another outlet like journaling or something like that to process through your emotions. I know I've been journaling an awful lot this week about this because I I worry. If you'll notice, I didn't have any posts on Instagram about anything that happened in the past couple of weeks, and I saw very few actually people who did post about it. And I think that's because I, along with everybody else, am actually really afraid of the backlash that would happen if I actually spoke my true feelings about things. So I'm not going to do that here, and I'm not even going to ask you to share with me, but I would just want to encourage you to find somebody who is safe within your bubble to talk through these things with. Because if you don't, it'll just fester and then the anxiety will grow, right? Stephanie,
absolutely.
do you have any follow-up thoughts about that?
I would just mimic the same thing you said. You know, I think we are at our best when we can openly share with others, and whomever that is in your life, cling to that person. And if you're not somewhere where you can get on a Zoom or you can see someone face to face, socially distant, then get on the old horn and call up a friend. You know, it could be someone that you regularly talk to, or maybe someone you haven't talked to in a long time. You know, do you have someone in your life that, hey, maybe I can mend a bridge and let's get things out in the open again? That's what I'd say.
I think that's beautiful because, yeah, we all, especially right now, I mean, we have such high hopes for 2021, and I don't want them to come crashing to the ground. So really, let's try to keep the hope
Absolutely.
alive,
Yeah.
right? And in fact, I might even talk about the hope model in in just a minute, because we have something. I might even turn it over to Stephanie to talk about um, what we have planned for 2021. Do you feel comfortable talking about it?
Yes, but remind me what we called it.
I even wrote it down just in case I would forget. So, Plan Knit KAL. So I'll put it across the
Yep.
screen. Hashtag PLANKNITKAL.
Perfect.
So,
So Plan Knit KAL was just kind of, really, it started for me as a challenge to Emily. Emily and I often communicate back and forth about, I should really buy this yarn. Nope. No, I shouldn't buy this yarn. Nope. I'm just showing you so I don't buy it. Or, oh my gosh, did you see so-and-so had a pattern out? I really need that. Well, do I really need that? I don't know. So it just got to the point where it became lust. It was like, oh my gosh, I want this. I need this. Well, maybe I don't. And in all actuality, Emily and I are both very blessed. We have beautiful yarn in our stashes. We've had patterns that we can knit all the time. And I felt like both her and I were getting away from that. We wanted to reclaim what was ours. We fell in love with the yarn to begin with in the first place because we purchased it. We love the patterns that we have because we've purchased them. So I said to her, let's put it on Ravelry. We have a queue in Ravelry. I don't really use it that much effectively, I guess I should say. And so I challenged her. I said, get your stash on Ravelry, at least one picture of it and the name of it. Whatever else you choose to put on there is fine. Add your patterns to that. And then let's combine our pattern and our yarn, and let's make a project in a queue. So our goal to each other was, let's make one project a month in the queue, and let's actively work towards that, work towards using the yarn in our stash and the project patterns we already have purchased. And it just kind of came from there. And I said, why don't we challenge other people to do the same thing if they have the stash and the yarn that they already love?
yes, it's exactly right. And you know, there this is a big project for me in my head,
Yeah,
because I haven't updated my stash in Ravelry since 2014.
yeah.
And honestly, I don't think I've ever actually attached, well, no, I have attached a few times the yarn in my stash to the actual project that I knit
Yeah.
with it. So for me, I need to go back and actually just clear all that up. I don't know if I can just delete everything and start from scratch, but I'm going to give it a try. I was looking at it this
Sure.
morning. And so for me, this whole idea of doing that actually took on this whole new, what do I want to call it, an elephant? I don't know. And and the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. My dog is leaving the room apparently. The door just opened like a ghost.
See you, Watson.
Okay, so here's what I thought. Like, why don't we do like a monthly challenge along with kind of a
Yes.
knit along, where we say, here, this month we challenge you to, what is it? Organize all your stash?
Yeah, basically just have a category where you can actually have a physical idea of what's in your stash, putting a picture to the actual stash in Ravelry. So if you were out and about and you were looking through what have you, you could say, oh gosh, I have 3 quantities of sweater yarn that would match this project, and kind of tagging them together and organizing, if you could say, organizing it in Ravelry to make a planned attack.
Exactly. Now, at the same time, though, we know that not everybody is on Ravelry anymore. I have quite a few friends who are
Yes.
no longer there.
Yes.
So even this morning, I woke up early even, and I created an Excel file that I put out there for everybody. If you go to Instagram and go
Yeah.
to my profile, you can download from my Google Docs
Hmm.
this this document, and I'll show it to you really fast. Actually, let me share my screen with you. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta not be in something for work.
Oh, minus that.
Yeah, right? Okay, so
But I
let's
think
try
the
Zoom.
ideally, we just wanted to make sure that if you're not using Ravelry as a platform, if you're not using something specific, don't make this feel like you can't be a part of this. Figure out what's going to be the best way for you to get organized and just have a plan of attack.
Exactly, exactly. And so Stephanie's going to show you something that she got for Christmas that can help her. But then for those of us who don't have what Stephanie has, so I created this and I literally just went on Ravelry and pretty much copied everything that they had and
Mhm.
put it in an Excel file for both a yarn stash, and then there's a second tab on there for a project keeper. And I even came up with some formulas. So let's say that you have, say, three skeins. Sorry, you have three skeins of, say, Madeline Tosh, and each skein is 424 yards. Then these two cells will put in the total yardage
Oh,
cell.
nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I did that, and then things like this is purchase date. It should come up, maybe purchase date. Oh, I thought I put it as calendar. I thought I made it calendar. Let's see. Let's see.
Okay.
01/15/2020. Oh, well, maybe not.
That can be changed.
Well, there we go. Okay, it did do it.
Okay, good.
So this
Yeah,
is just for you guys, because I thought I'm not going to use it. I I literally can't wrap my brain around this one. I'm gonna use the one from Ravelry.
sure.
Um, but then if you want to use it, totally go for it. Feel free. It only took me a few minutes to
Absolutely.
create them.
Absolutely. And I have another option too. This is simply just off of Amazon, and I don't think it's, I think I want to say it's under $10. This is called the Knitting Journal, and I have the paperback version. I think my dear sweet mother, my enabler, she actually sent this to me for Christmas. I think she has a hard book copy of this. Either way, whatever you want. So it's called the Knitting Journal, and it's literally a blank page on this side where it's got the little graph paper. So if you want to design something, you want to sketch something out, whatever your little heart's desire is this. And then on the opposite page, and I'm sure this is probably backwards, it says I am knitting, and it gives you a space for that. It gives you a space for the yarn you're using. This is super cute. It has you take a little swatch or a little piece of yarn from your project, staple it in, glue it in, something cute, you know, kind of like your yardage, notes about it. And literally this is identical on every single page. So you could fill up an entire year's worth. And I think, I mean, you never know, but this to me, I think would be something really special to pass down. And maybe my girls who are 5 and 7 could care less about what I did, but it's almost, it's a way of record keeping as well. So if something happened and I wasn't able to get on Ravelry or what have you, it would just be nice to be able to look back over the generations or the years and have a physical copy of my projects. And then you can also, in the back, there's a yarn inventory. So same thing again, like with Ravelry, inventory your yarn. I had a really interesting conversation one day with our insurance agent, and he was saying, you know, that's actually a really good model, because if you have the quantity and the yarn and the value physically on Ravelry or somewhere you could print out, if something ever happened to your stash in a fire, or heaven forbid something awful happened, you could claim that on your insurance and you could recoup the cost of your entire stash. So for multiple reasons, it's going to be a great tool. So
I'm going to tell you, honestly, that was when you told me about that, that was the one
Yes,
that got me. Because, and then we found out that it doesn't show, when you list on Ravelry, it doesn't show to anybody else but you the price that you paid for the yarn. Because I've
correct.
always been reticent to put that down.
Sure.
Because I don't want other people to be like, oh, Emily paid this much. She's such a yarn snob.
Or
But
I
she's so
only
cheap.
paid this much and got a good deal.
Exactly.
Yes. But
So,
the idea, again, is just to encourage you guys, find a way to organize your thoughts and your plans. And there's no time limit on this. This is not a, you have to get something done at a certain time or a date or you're out. This is just, we want to encourage everyone to find the best way to use your yarn, your patterns, and your tools, and have fun with it. Make it work for you.
exactly. So, here's how we envision this.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is preliminary envisioning here. So, what we want to do is each month we're going to issue a challenge, and then you can accept that challenge and make your own goal around that challenge. And the way that, and we're going to have prizes, hopefully. I really hope we
Sure.
do. Yeah.
Sure.
And so but the way that we're going to do this is via Instagram.
Yep.
So we're going to pull from anybody who uses the hashtag. Again, it should be at the bottom of your screen, Plan Knit KAL.
Yes.
We're going to pull every month, every 2 months. I don't think we've decided which. I'd prefer every month, but I don't know if that's possible. But
Or
anyway,
let us know down in the comments, you know, do you guys want to do it monthly or quarterly? What are more realistic for your guys' goals?
yeah, because here I'll show you my email that I sent to myself about our notes really quick. And then you guys can just decide what you think. So these are just ideas, okay? So I wrote down that it's a new year. We want to use the Plan Knit KAL as the hashtag. And then what a challenge may look like in January, conquer that stash. Each week plan and organizing some of your stash in whatever fashion you prefer, like we've just been talking about.
Absolutely.
And then I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to start listing challenge ideas just in case. But I kind of like that you were saying the quarterly thing. I kind of feel like that's more appropriate.
Well, and I think quarterly gives people, it gives people somewhat of a deadline, but it's a soft deadline because
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's plenty of time to make that and to formulate an idea. Because let's say for someone who's not really a fast knitter, you know, I really want to do a sweater. I've got the yarn, I've got the pattern, I'm going to organize it, show my progress, but I'm not a fast knitter, but I think I could get it done in a quarter.
Yes. Yes. So I think we're going to go with quarter then. And so I think what I want to do then is, because we're really good at chit chatting here on YouTube. So I just want,
What you're talking about.
I would invite you guys all to comment below. See the things
Yeah.
that I highlighted? Comment below on if if 4 of those things hit your fancy, list
Yeah.
those 4. But if you think outside the box, if there's another one that you think of,
Absolutely.
suggest it. And then by next time, but we'll actually have all 4 of them. But we do know what what this quarter's is, which is conquer that stash, right?
Yes.
In whichever fashion you prefer.
Yeah.
So I would say just get going on it. Make your own goal. Maybe post it on Instagram or something so that maybe you can have some accountability somewhere, right?
I'll see what I can do about a cute graphic and a hashtag to put up on Instagram.
So good at that. I'll tell you guys. She comes up with all of our hashtag graphics. She's so great. Okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
so here's the reason why we decided to do this is because we're still in that COVID atmosphere. We're still
Right.
needing to, even once we get the vaccine, we're told that we're still going to have to socially isolate or distance ourselves just because we can't supposedly contract it once we have the vaccine. I'm just saying what I've heard. It doesn't mean that we can't pass it on. This is And this isn't even the gospel according to Emily. This is the gospel according to the news networks that I overheard. So, um, So since we're doing that, and it's, I don't know about you, but personally, especially last summer, I really struggled with motivation and to do anything besides from like almost just watch TV. Now there was a lot of things that went into that. I had a lot of personal things going on as well. Work was like draining me till I was just a husk, and I'm not in that mode anymore.
Mhm.
And I feel really motivated to really focus on different aspects of my life. And we discussed that last time, but also if you haven't listened to it, Little Cabin Knits, I put out an episode of audio, my audio podcast last week too. Was it last week? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm focusing on a lot of different areas, and it's really giving me. I'm never bored anymore.
Yeah.
I've always got something to do.
I think it's all in how you look at things. You know, are you a glass half empty or are you a glass half full? And I know that's such a cliche because it's an easy thing to say, but really try each morning to set your motivation to positive. You know, if the news is bugging you, don't turn it on.
Yeah.
If you just have a stressor in your life or something that you know is just, it's going to really weigh you down, find ways to either eliminate that for the time being or slowly work away at it so it's not so challenging. I know, especially even with this challenge, Emily said, oh my gosh, I have so much yarn, I don't know where to start. And I said, you know what is it all stored in? And of course, what'd she say? It's in Rubbermaid tubs. And I said, perfect, focus on one Rubbermaid tub in a weekend. And she said to me, I can totally do that. And I said, I know you can. So again, break it down into tangible bites. No matter what it is, give yourself a goal and work at it within your parameters.
Yep. And I will say this, that even the Rubbermaid tub was overwhelming to me. So
Yeah,
I went
yeah,
and picked up a basket of a size
perfect.
that I thought was nice, and I got it on sale, people.
There
So,
you go.
and I just filled it up with yarn that I had just literally from the past couple months just stored where haphazardly around the house, and I just
Hmm.
put it all in there, and that's going to be my weeks because even the
That's
tub was too much,
perfect. That is
right?
perfect.
Yeah.
And again, you are the only one that is setting your own goals. Emily and I are not holding you guys to this. This is just a personal goal for you guys to feel better about what you're doing, better about what you're crafting, more efficient. And if you already feel that way, just share with us maybe your model of how you do things. You don't have to change what you're doing by any means.
Yep. And similarly, so on the second half of this was the picking a pattern from what you already have
Yes.
and then knitting from your stash. So that's
Yes.
also that's gonna be every single quarter,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yep.
So I already picked out mine.
Okay, let's see
Um,
it.
okay, hold on. Hold on. I gotta go to pattern. No, I gotta go to my notebook. I gotta go to,
You're so technologically based. I'm a printer girl,
I know.
but I like to scribble on everything. So,
I really, I really like to scribble on it too. So I will say that recently I got a printer for Christmas from Jeremy, and it was my second favorite. His necklace to me was my first favorite. But
absolutely.
where is my pattern? I just had it up. Well, anyway, do you want to talk about, while I try to find my pattern, do you want to talk
Yes.
about your first choice? Okay, I'm
So,
gonna mute myself.
I am a huge fan of Jennifer Steinglass. Her sweaters just enthrall me. In fact, I have one of them on. This is the Silver Forest. This is a fingering weight sweater. And I did it, gosh, this was 2019, I want to say. Anyway, this was in Stroll Tweed. So this is Nitpicks, and gosh, I cannot, this is like throwing a sweatshirt on for me. It is so lightweight and it is so comfortable. I wear it with jeans. It's perfect. Anyway, this is just one of her patterns. And I want to say, it was in the month of December. She had a sale where it was buy one, get one free. But that was before I said I wasn't buying any more patterns. So I went ahead and I got a couple. And this was one of my other organizational skills. And guys, this is as bare bones as it gets. It's a 3-ring binder, and it's got the plastic paper cover protectors. That's it. I put them by sweater, socks, mittens. I mean, they don't even have dividers, but for me, it's done, and that's what I'm calling organized. But the one I am doing for first quarter is the Gold Wing. And this is a worsted weight sweater. It is most of her patterns are a yoked sweater, and then you split for the sleeves and you finish and you go down. So it is a top down. And this is just a 2-tone. So you've got the 2 tones here in the upper and the lower, and then there's just a little bit down here on the sleeves, which I say take it or leave it. If you don't like the look, don't put it on. If it's too much of a hassle, don't worry about it. If you like it, go for it. I mean, again, all of her stuff is so easy to do, size inclusive. You know, I'm trying to think. I want to say it goes high 40s, 50s, maybe. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check on that one. And so for this,
I think it goes to 3X. I'm just going to say.
It's possible. Yeah,
yeah,
she's got real good size inclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this one, I am digging out a stash. Don't even have a label.
I am.
So I'm going to do, on the top is going to be the charcoal gray, and then the rest is going to be barn red. And I can't really wear this color very well, at least I don't think so. So I'm going to separate it by putting the gray by my face and then the barn red towards the bottom. So that's my dream knitting for first quarter.
Yeah, but see, I hate to burst your bubble, but those 2 colors looked amazing next to your face when you held them up.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So,
you're so sweet.
I'm not so sure you can't wear red, sweetheart.
Okay, what is your first quarter dream knitting?
Okay, so you're gonna think this is weird. So what happened is literally all of this got kicked off, guys, by me sending this pattern to Stephanie saying that I wanted to knit it.
Yes.
And so it's but that I didn't want to buy it.
Yeah.
So instead of buying it, I put it on my wish list. And
that's a great organizational idea.
Right, but here's the backlash that happened. Somebody bought it for me. Yeah.
Merry
I'm not going to name
Christmas
names. Yeah, I'm not going to name names. But somebody bought it for me, so I was like, well then heck yeah, I'm going to knit this bad boy.
It was meant to be.
Yep. And so I went stash diving and I picked out a yarn, but here, I'll show you what I'm going to knit. So this is by Alicia?
Yes, and you did. You were so cute about it. She kept saying, "Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this pattern. I think it'll fit me. It's gonna flatter me." And you know me, I'm like, "Okay, Emily, think it through twice. Do we need it?"
Yep.
That's super cute.
And it killed me to put it in my wish list because I was just like, "Oh, I'm never gonna get to it. And I'm gonna forget about it." And then 2 days later, it was in my inbox.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so I went and picked out the yarn. So anyway, I love this one because, full screen. There we go. So there's drop sleeves, because if you notice, the sleeve seam is down here, and I look better with drop sleeves because I have such broad shoulders. So when I have things that accentuate where my shoulders end, that just makes me feel like a linebacker. And
it's a very flattering look.
Yes. And I noticed that actually on the people that I saw wearing it in the project page and stuff. Yeah. But this is also, I also wasn't sure that I wanted to knit it because I have this viewpoint that sweaters for me, because I feel so large, need to be out of fingering weight. And
really?
Yeah, it's a thing I have.
Oh.
But at the same time, when I knit sweaters out of fingering weight, it takes me years. So, I don't have very many of them.
Yeah.
So this one is at an Aran weight. I just look at that line right there. I just love that garter stitch detail.
I just envision you wearing this on a beautiful hike in the woods when it's snowing, out for a walk, and I think this is going to be beautiful on you.
Thank you, because that's exactly how I was envisioning it. Like, this will be nice and free-flowing, and it'll just be perfect. So I'll stop sharing that, and I'll show you guys my yarn. So
Yes.
I picked out, I got from my local yarn store, is it Kathmandu? Is that what that's called? And you, my gosh, this looks so blue in the picture. That is not,
I
this is
can
not
tell
blue.
it's like beautiful purple. It's
Yay.
gorgeous.
Okay, good. So the colorway is hyacinth,
Ah,
and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skeins of this, which I believe is one more skein than I need because what I'm doing, this one is knit with ease. So since I always think myself so large and I mess up on things, I am knitting actually, I think it's the size medium or the size large instead
okay.
of the extra large or the extra extra large, which is what I usually do.
Good.
So
Good.
I know my bust is about like 48 inches around from, you
Okay.
know, front to back.
Right.
And this one on the pattern says it's a 47-inch bust. So I'm like, okay, that should be good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And if it's a little too, it's not a sweater that you close. So if it does,
Right.
so I'm okay if it's a little smaller too. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think
M-
that's a good choice. And again, you know, sometimes it's hard to with gauge, with ease, all that kind of stuff. But as long as you're comfortable in it and you feel like it's a flattering fit, I'd say go for it.
Yeah. And this is gonna knit up so fast.
I know. I'm so excited for
Oh my
you.
gosh. Yeah. But I have second dream knitting too.
Ooh, oh,
Because
do tell.
well, yep, and it's a Debbie Bliss pattern. It's actually this one. I want to cover my friend's name on here. My friend
Okay.
that asked me to, oh crap, I can't cover her name. My friend that
Yes.
asked me to knit this sweater skirt for
Yes.
her, I'm gonna
Yes.
start that this weekend. And this is knit out of like super bulky. And so this is gonna, and
That's going to be fun.
this woman, she is reed thin. I mean, Steph, you're thin, but she's like, I would
Yeah.
I'm not trying to disparage or anything, but I would say she's even half your size because, like, I feel like sometimes I would, if I puff, she would blow away.
And she's
But
very petite as well.
yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm 5'8", so I mean, that's not super tall, but she's a very
Yep.
petite woman. Yes.
Yeah. I think she's not even 5 feet. So
Yeah. Yeah.
she's just a pocket full of miracles, honestly.
That
So,
color is going to be gorgeous.
right? Oh, it's so lovely. But I have so much of this yarn because
That's
there's
going to be
just,
fun.
it's just such a big, it's 90% merino wool, 10% cashmere, and I think there's only like just a, where is the yardage? Oh, 42 meters. That's how big this skein is. I mean, how thick this yarn is.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So I've got a
Wow.
lot of that yarn. But that's my two
Well,
dream knittings for this quarter.
my second dream knitting, I need some suggestions with.
Okay.
So, um, I love socks that rock yarn. It is like,
Yeah.
it's like when I started to learn to knit, when my mom and my mom's knitting group taught me, this was what, this is what they had. This is what they, what have you. So I have 3 colors of socks that rock.
Ooh, look at those.
And this is kind of more teal. This is a purpley teal blue, and then more of a denim there. That's probably good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heavyweight. So this is DK for
I was
sure.
gonna say, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, what can I make that's going to wrap around me, that's going to be super warm? I don't know. So I'm open to suggestions. So again, 3 skeins, and these are 350 yards a piece, times 3, and it's a DK. So if anyone has
Mm.
suggestions for these lovelies.
And you want a sweater, am I thinking, right?
I don't know if a sweater or even just like a really, like a good size wrap in a sense. You know, there's so many ways you can tie wraps now, or shawls for that matter, but something that I could really cover my shoulder area and stay warm with. So
Yeah. Awesome. I love that.
yes.
And that is so your color.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
I'm just
You
saying.
sent, yeah, you sent me that Socks That Rock that was so my color for Christmas, and I have been looking at it. Oh, there's
Mhm.
Jeremy, everybody. I don't think he wants to say hi. Hey, Jeremy, you want to say hi to the world? I don't think you could hear him. He says hi to the world.
So what are you knitting on currently? What are your current WIPs?
Oh my gosh, so many. Well, actually, it felt like so many. Okay, so for those of you who did not join us last time in our Zoom session, knitting session, I had brought out an old WIP, and I found my pattern and everything, which I didn't have at the time. Where is the name? Oh my gosh, guys, this is annoying. Well, apparently I don't have the name. Oh, Once in Floral. It's at the bottom of every page.
There you
So my
go.
Once in Floral sweater, which is,
Oh, yes.
yeah. And so I had knit the entire body, and then I put it aside because when I tried it on,
Yeah.
I had over 6 inches positive ease.
Yeah.
Now, the bust fit me perfectly,
Mhm.
but it was once we got to the sleeves that it was just ridiculous. So I showed it to everybody in the knitting group, and everybody was just like, giving me lots of great ideas. But I'll just be honest, I got super scared when we talked about cutting my knitting. And so I ripped it all the way back to the sleeves, all
Hey,
the way back.
even that, that takes like a little getting used to. I'm going to rip
Yeah.
out all my knitting. Good for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yep. And I recalculated everything,
Okay.
and I have knit about 3 rows with the new calculations. And
That's
that's
all
it.
right.
Yep. But I mean, just the ripping out. Like I had some trainings I was in uh last week, and just the ripping out, everybody was laughing at me because they were seeing me pull on the yarn and go like this, and all of my coworkers were just like, "You're just so cute." I was like, "I know." But
Ugh.
that took me 2 full days of
Yeah.
being in that training to do because it's fingering weight yarn.
Yeah.
But oh, so
It'll be worth it.
yes. So just a reminder, I am knitting this. I got stuck. Sorry. Out of my favorite yarn, Elspeth Lavold Silky Wool. Sorry. Can you see? It's blowing out, but and I've got brown and blue and white
Okay.
for mine. And I'm done with the color work, so everything is just straight stocking net. And I've
Yeah.
got about 4 balls of my brown, and I've got way too much yarn for this sweater, but I'm okay with that.
And the other thing to think about too, and this goes kind of back to the organization piece where I challenged Emily, just even her and I said, really take a look at your stash. Let's say you get done with a sweater and you have 3 skeins left of that yarn and you're really not going to use it. Put it on Ravelry in your trade to sell items. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I can't tell you how many times I have just traded yarn. I'll say to someone, hey, are you interested in a trade? Well, let me look through your trade to sell. Oh, sure. Hey, I'll take that Madeline Tosh skein. It's a perfect win-win because it leaves my stash. I'm really not going to use it. I've already used it. And then I can get something else in.
Yep. And I love that idea. I never thought about it because it's right there in the name, trade or sell, and I've never traded.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Ugh. Okay. So the next thing that I'm working on is something, um, is a knitted swap.
Ooh,
Yeah, with um, my Jane Austen group on Ravelry.
fun.
Yeah, they're such, I love these women. They're so amazing. But my swap partner is an old friend from that group, and we decided she's gonna knit me actual mittens, and she wanted a headband, and so I had won this pattern from a local designer here in Anchorage,
Cool.
and it's supposed to mimic Dancing Aurora, right? So
Yes.
the designer she's so beautiful. Um,
Oh,
if you want to look her up on Instagram, I'll put it down here. It's We You Knits. So it's
we
WEE
units.
and then EWE knit.
That's
But
awesome.
But this is her there wearing
That's gonna
it,
be so pretty.
right?
Is it
Okay,
two tones?
it's 2 tones, and I don't know if this is going to be for her or if I'm going to have to make her a separate one, because so far this is what I have.
Okay.
These are both leftover skeins, and I
Okay.
honestly don't know. This is from my So Faded shawl from
Yeah.
Andrea Mowry. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's blowing out too. And um, then I have this teal, but this teal is a little
Ooh.
bit thicker. It's almost like sport weight. And what I'm
Yeah.
noticing is that, so this is Mosaic Knitting. I'm losing everything, people. Okay. And and I don't know. It just looks really wonky. And I think it's because the 2 different weights of yarn that I'm using.
You know, I'd almost encourage you to stop where you're at. I know this is going to sound really crazy. Leave your needles in it,
Hmm.
wash it with a good wool wash, and block it and look at what the finished object is. And then after that point, okay, it's going to work, it'll be fine. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't going to work type thing. But keep the needles in it and go for it.
I mean, the pattern itself is so easily written. I love, so everybody knows that Kay Hopkins, or Knit for the Soul, is one of my favorite people in the world, right?
Second that.
Right? And she is the queen of mosaic knitting. I
Yes.
will say, though, that I'm finding Alexandria's, this pattern,
Okay.
her way she wrote up her pattern so much easier. But I think that's because there's no shaping in her pattern. It's
That makes a
literally just a
difference.
straight tube, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm just gonna see. I think you're right. I think I need to block it out, but I had to knit. So this is 3.5 repeats of the chart, and I had to knit this far
Oh, wow.
because
Okay.
honestly, it kind of looked like a bunch of just a big mess
Yeah.
when before I got this far. But now that I see the whole pattern repeated,
Yeah.
I like it, right?
Yeah. It's a beautiful, I mean, the idea and the texture is really pretty. I think it's just going to come down to how you feel about the 2 yarns combined.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a feeling that I might need to break it out because on its own, this yarn is not very strong in the pink sector. I mean, it's
Oh,
there, but it's not overpowering, and it's got all these
yeah.
beautiful speckles. But then what I wasn't anticipating is how much it popped against the teal. And my friend is not really a pink person.
Good idea, though.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why that was the other reason why I thought this might be for me. So I might be knitting this twice, which I'm totally okay with because literally I
Yeah.
cast this on Tuesday night, and so that this was, I think I watched like 4 episodes of Family Guy, and that's how far I am. So, okay with it.
Confessions of TV watching.
Hmm. I'm so into the adult cartoons right now, but not the raunchy, gross ones.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to really, I was very curious about this one that came up on Hulu for me because I usually like Australian TV shows.
Oh,
And yeah, and so one came up, an adult cartoon from Australia, and I thought, oh, let's see what that one is like. I'm telling you guys, I almost threw up. It was so disgusting.
ew.
Yeah, I just couldn't handle it. My yarn
Yuck.
is going everywhere. Okay,
Oh.
so the one last thing that I'm knitting
Okay.
on, I've got my new project bag from my swappie. Yes, Miss Shauna. But then inside, it's not the sock yarn that she sent me, but I am going to get to that. Instead, it's this Nitpicks Hawthorne sock reels. Oh my gosh, everything is just getting blown out.
Those are so fun. And you know, do they even sell those anymore, or was that a limited thing?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I just
I
assumed.
haven't looked either, but I was so intrigued by them. I never actually got one, and I just thought, I wonder how those knit up. How are
Oh,
you doing with the
crinkly?
kinkiness of the yarn already? Yes.
It's kind of bothering me a bit. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
However, I will say that I love how it looks knit up.
Oh,
Because
very
this is
cool.
just 3x1 ribbing, but it looks
That's
like I did
pretty.
a whole bunch of, oh my gosh, it's just being so blown out. It looks like I did all of this Nope, that's not working either.
You can see the texture.
You can? Okay, it's
Yes.
just me on my end that I
It's
feel
just the
like you can't.
color. It's just the color.
Okay,
But yeah, you can see the texture.
yeah. And so I love that.
Wow.
So I'm really enjoying it actually, although the kinkiness kind of gets to me a little bit. Look, that's how kinky it is.
Yeah.
Because you're pulling from this teeny tiny strip.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting for sure.
yeah. And but yeah, so that's my color and I'm telling you now like I cannot wait till I get to this black because I just want to see how it looks knit up with that
That's going to
black.
be sharp.
Yeah.
Who are
So,
those for?
well, actually, I don't have anybody in mind. I just cast on my normal 60 stitches. It might be for me, might be for a sister, might be for you. Although you don't need socks.
Hey, put it in the gift box. There's nothing wrong with knitting socks now and
Mm-hmm.
saving them for somebody later. You never know.
But isn't that pretty, guys?
That's
Isn't that
gorgeous.
pretty?
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. And I love this bag. It's just the absolute perfect size. I don't feel cramped.
It's cute.
Nothing. Yeah.
Who makes that bag?
I don't know actually.
Is there a label on it?
Did Shauna make it?
She might have. I don't know.
Because there's no label that I can see.
She's crafty. She could have easily done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you see the quilts that our friend is making? That our friend that I've just been knitting like a fiend, all of her stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I lost it. Anyway, those
Yes.
quilts, those Christmas quilts, that's just so beautiful.
Mm.
Love them. Anyway,
Well, I'm really
your turn.
boring right now because all I'm knitting is socks. I had a really unique opportunity. There's a lady who is a friend of mine who is, she's going legally blind, and she's a knitter, and she, for whatever reason, has never knit herself a pair of socks. And through conversation via Instagram, text message, what have you, I offered, I said, would you like me to knit you a pair of socks? And she just thought that was incredibly crazy. I don't know why you would offer that. Long story short, she sent me about 8 skeins of yarn, and I have the opportunity to knit her a collection of socks. And I feel so blessed to be able to do that for her because it's not something she's going to be able to do, but she really was so thankful and so excited about it. I'm going to knit socks anyway because that's what I do. So again, that's what I've been doing. I've sent about 4 or 5 pairs to her already in the mail. The last 2,
That's
and she
astounding.
actually sent me all of the yarn. So this was not stuff I purchased. This was yarn she purchased. I was just doing the work for her.
Oh my gosh,
These
you're
were
done?
minis. Yeah.
2 weeks
Well,
ago.
I think I can probably knit a pair of socks in a week. So it just
I love you, but I hate you right now.
So I did this pair, and this was all mini skeins. So I just did that, and honestly, I've never been a fan of like trying to tie them all together because they just Crazy Sock Lady, Kay, she has a tutorial on how she grafts or sews in the side. That's the sewn seam connected with each color, and you would never know it was there.
No.
And so for those of you who like scrappy socks or things like that, give it a whirl. That's a great tutorial. I mean, Kay has great tutorials to begin with, but it was something different than I wasn't used to because I like a meticulous, clean looking sock. I don't want that to be the case.
I absolutely love those.
I just dropped it on the floor, and then I just finished another pair for her.
Yeah, you're right. You've just knit 2 pairs of socks in 2 weeks. Ridiculous.
It just happens fast. It just happens fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the current pair of socks that I'm knitting for her.
I love that.
And this is just a really pretty dusty color. Now I'm gonna have to tell you, Holly, can you see that? There you go.
Yes.
Holly Press Fibers. She's on Instagram. I'm
She's dangerous.
sorry. I'm sorry. I will spend your money for you, but I'm sorry. And I actually just contacted her. She's going to be doing another round of her Christmas yarn.
Wait, now?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm not going to tell you when so that I can get my one skein of Christmas yarn that I've told myself I'd buy. Yes. She is going to, I want to say February or March, she's going to do another round of her Christmas colorways. You guys, these are not just red and green. These are beautiful. So anyway.
Ah, that's so beautiful.
So yeah,
okay,
I'm
now,
just knitting socks.
But I have a question for you. So on 2 of those, you have the heel flap.
Yes.
But on the mini skein one, you have, it looked like the Fish Lips Kiss
yes, ma'am.
heel. So which heel do you prefer to do?
So those are my 2 go-to heels. For a narrow, slender foot, I still will go with a gusset and a heel flap. It fits. It just fits. But for someone who has more of a wider, boxier foot, I can get away with the Fish Lips Kiss heel. The only thing you really have to remember is you have to give yourself more foot length to accommodate for, it is a smaller heel. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a smaller heel, but yeah.
What I've taken to doing is, you see where your finger was on the seam for the heel? I've taken, when I do that one, to measuring from the top of that seam down, and then minusing 2 inches for the toe. Now that didn't work out well with this one for Jeremy.
She has some instructions on the Fish Lips Kiss heel.
She does.
I don't know if I just didn't pay attention or what, but there's also another way where you can add like a gusset, small gusset in here to give a little more length. I haven't quite looked that one up yet. But for me, I mean, this is always, a drop heel is always going to be what I do. I don't know. It just works.
Well, I will say that my method works for me, from measuring from the top, and then so I would knit 6 inches from that top seam, and then I would start my toe. But I did that with this one with Jeremy's, and it was like 2 inches longer than his regular foot. So I don't know, it just didn't work for him.
Wow.
But I do have a slender foot, and Jeremy has a very, he's got wide,
and would you agree with that the more wider and boxier the foot, the Fish Lips Kiss fits better, and then the more slender?
Because I did the heel flap, the partridge heel flap for Jeremy, and he never wears those socks. But the ones that I've knit with the Fish Lips Kiss, he's always wearing them. I'm always washing them. So.
It's interesting, and it just goes to show size is everything.
Yep, it is. I brought this out because I still need to rip this out and knit it shorter again. So I don't want to unweave my Kitchener. That's the thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But, okay, so finished objects. I just have one. Yeah, I just have one.
Good for you.
And that is my towel. What is happening here, people?
Speaking of Kay Hopkins.
Exactly. Look at this gorgeousness.
We're not sponsored, but Kay, we love you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, guys! Like Kay and Steph's mom, when I was going through the worst time of my entire life, they were my anchor in Portland. When I had to leave my abusive husband, and then some really, really terrible things happened to me. I was actually in the hospital, and somehow they found out. I don't know how they found out, because I didn't have my phone. Was that you? Okay. And the next thing I knew,
I told them, I said, you get over there because I can't be there, and you get to her. And they're just very sweet. Of course, one of them is my mother, but they're the mothers of all mothers, and they love on everybody,
Yep. And so anything, I'm wearing a K. This is actually my favorite knit from 2020 is my Cove Palisades from K.
It's beautiful.
And then, of course, now I've got okay, so I totally messed up on the center seam. So that's an Emily thing, but I actually like it. It kind of looks like a bird, you know? But this is also Mosaic Knitting, and this is just absolutely beautiful. Both are Madeline Tosh. One is ochre,
Oh,
so the golden is ochre, and then the other one I don't know. It's just her
that's
dark
gorgeous.
navy.
That's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And it's all seamed up. So you knit it flat, and
Oh,
yeah, and then you have, I just whip stitched it. I didn't
yeah,
do like anything
yeah.
special because I figure my hair is going to be over it anyway. Um, so yeah, I just whip stitched it closed, and I've been wearing it the
Does the,
past couple days.
does the pattern call to seam it in the back, or is that a feature you put in? Oh, it
Yep,
is. Okay.
yep. And I
Very
think
pretty.
that's probably wise because I think there's something that goes wrong with mosaic knitting in the round, but I don't think it's really a factor in that headband I'm knitting.
I think you're right now that you say that.
Yeah. So
Speaking
like,
of mosaic knitting,
uh-huh. Oh
N.K.
yeah.
Hopkins,
Gotta be
she's gonna
kidding me.
kill us. My favorite knit of 2020 was one of Kay's patterns. For the last, I want to say 4 years. My youngest is 5, my oldest is 7. I have 2 little girls. And since my littlest was 1, I decided to knit them a sweater for Christmas every year. And it was prompted by a Christmas book that we read by Glenn Beck, and it's the children's version. There's an adult version that's a pretty good sized book, and it's called The Christmas Sweater. And so my husband, they each have their own copy of the book. It's a hardback book, and my husband reads it. And actually this year, my 7-year-old read it to us. It was so cute. I was so proud of her. So we read it on Christmas Eve, and then it's the magic of a Christmas sweater. Yes, you can get a bike, but that's not knit with love. And yes, you can get this, but it's not as good as a hug wrapped around you in a sweater. If you have not read it, please check it out from your library or just buy it. It is so worth it. Anyhow, I decided that I was going to knit them each a sweater, and I've done this now for 4 years. And I take a picture and then I put it in the back of the book. So when the girls are older, they will have a recollection of the years of sweaters that I knit them with the story of this book.
I didn't know you did that part.
Yes.
Oh, I
So
love it.
So they each have one. I love the other one just as much, but this pattern just clung to me. So this is Kay Hopkins. This is the, let me see here, Forest Park Junior. Now she has this in an adult sweater, which is going to be in my queue and what I'm going to do for myself because it's gorgeous. But it is like the old style grandpa cardigan.
Yep. I
And
love
it
this
is
one.
so, it's beautifully written. All of her patterns, we're just gushing here, but it's truthful. I mean, I wouldn't tell you it's a good pattern if it really wasn't.
Yeah.
So it is mosaic knitting. It is not color work. And it goes all the way around the back. And this is knit, this was Nitpicks Brava worsted. It's their acrylic line.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I mean, both Emily and I, we use acrylic when we need to. You know, it's not our favorite thing, but if you're going to buy acrylic yarn, Nitpicks Brava is some of the softest, springiest acrylic yarn, and it's washable. I mean,
I
I
love
can't
that.
even,
I've not.
this has been laundered I don't know how many times, but it's
So
so
do
fun.
you wash it and dry it, or what do you do?
Oh, honey, I throw this in with a load and throw it in the dryer with a load.
Okay, so then that speaks to it because
It
I
does.
just washed Jeremy's acrylic hat from Lion Brand Scarfy, and I did that, and it's come out looking pretty crappy.
It does
So
make a difference. I would say that acrylic yarn has really made a turn since yarn has become, I don't want to call it a thing, but because knitting is more popular again. You know, yes, people want something that is washer and dryer friendly for gifting, for people that don't know how to care for hand knits. And I would highly recommend Nitpicks Brava. They have it, I want to say, from sport all the way up to worsted weight. And of course, with Nitpicks, they have an array of colors.
yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh my gosh, you guys, it is so squishy and bouncy, and I threw it straight in the dryer.
I love it. Okay, because here's the thing, like, I mean, I absolutely love all of my hand knits.
Mhm,
Sometimes, okay, like 2 weeks ago when I was washing all of the sweaters and the socks and the shawls
mhm.
in the bathtub, I I was getting kind of frustrated. Now,
Yeah,
granted, I had waited and I had to do a huge load at that time, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have a hand knit sweater that I could throw in the
absolutely.
wash. Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially for gift knitting, guys, there is nothing more heartbreaking as a knitter to gift a baby gift to a brand new mother who puts this darling sweater on a baby and it vomits all over it and she throws it in the wash and it's this big.
Yep. Yep.
But if you could do something like this where it
Mhm.
doesn't matter and tell the mom, this is washer and dryer friendly, have at it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes a difference, I think.
So are you going to knit yours in acrylic too, or what do you think?
I'm going to use stash yarn because I have it.
Mhm.
Um, I have some I want to call it like doe skin heather colored
Mhm.
Cascade 220 that's been in my stash for too many years.
Mhm.
Um, and then I'm going to do a undyed natural for my color band. So something
Oh,
very neutral, something I don't have in my wardrobe. And I know you and I have talked thinking more about color for wardrobe. Now, granted, I'll wear any color in the book. It doesn't matter to me because I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
But things that are a little more neutral that will go with maybe a more professional look if I had to.
That's exactly right. Like this is so this morning, before we started, at first I was on a Zoom call with my boss,
Mhm.
but then it started snowing up on the hillside, and so she lost connection, so we had to end it with a phone call. But anyway, so this is my one hand knit sweater that I feel is absolutely appropriate for work because all my other
It's
hand knit
beautiful.
sweaters are too brightly colored. But this one is Emily colored. It's pinky peach,
Mhm.
dusty rose, and I created the fade. Her pattern doesn't come with a fade in
Okay.
it. Um, but uh, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my shawls and my sweaters up on my bookshelf here, and I'm just like, they're too wild and crazy. You need to tone it back some. So what
Yeah.
does she do? She picks up a violet colored
Oh, but
yarn to knit her
let's
next
be
sweater in.
realistic. That could go so well with white,
Yes.
gray, and denim. And those
Yeah.
are basic colors in most people's wardrobe.
Yeah, and I always pair this sweater with this black
Yeah,
sleeveless or a tank, and it just works perftly as
I
long as
think
I
it
see
looks
very
great.
well. Yeah, I love it.
Looks good.
Thank you. Well, my friends, I think, did we cover everything? I don't know.
I
Double
think
check for
so.
us. I think that was
Oh,
everything we're going to talk about, but okay, wait, hold on.
I was just going to say, in regards to the planner and our KAL and things like that, we talked about the knitting journal as a planner. The other thing I wanted to encourage you, if you, again, are not going to do this on Ravelry, it's just not your thing, you're going to laugh. Go to Michael's or where have you, and, oh, where did I put it now? I'm a fan of the Happy Planner. And so I like the Happy Planner for meal planning and for things like that. But their sticker packets, they go great for anything. This
Yeah.
is a 3-ring notebook, guys.
Hmm.
I made tabs out of stickers. I put some stickers here. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be fancy. So again,
Right.
just to encourage you guys, make it what you want. What is going to work for you guys. And I'm excited to see where this takes us as a group of, creative individuals and then collectively together.
Yeah. I think this is really good because as a creative person and as a therapist, I lean very heavily on my right brain, my creative brain.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is me now taking my creative side and bringing it over to my logical side. And that's not something that I do on the regular.
Yeah.
And I think this is this is going to challenge me and it's going to frustrate me, but I'm also going to get super excited about it too. And I think
I
it's
love
going
it.
to provide a lot of excitement for the coming years too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
And it'll
also
be a way
why I
to give
never,
back.
yeah. But this is also why I usually struggle with things like hosting cows and stuff, which is why Stephanie always has to come in and help because that part of my brain does not function well.
Well, Emily, it has been a joy to spend some time with you. And I, as a dear friend, thank you for hosting me on your show. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Steph. I love you to pieces, girl. You're the
So do I get
bestest.
to say it?
Yes.
Okay. Don't forget to knit what you love.
And love what you knit. Ta ta for now.